Canada is working to expand trade with Mexico as the two countries sign a trade memorandum of understanding, and a large Canadian business delegation visits Mexico. So what's the way ahead for trade ties between the two countries, even as the CUSMA trade agreement comes up for renegotiation? Joining us now from Mexico City is Shauna Hemingway, a former diplomat and now senior special advisor for Mexico and the Americas with the Business Council of Canada. It's good to have you join us. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Delighted to be with you.
So I'm wondering, first of all, what exactly does this new MOU do? What are some of the next steps, do you think?
It solidifies what has been a long-standing relationship that really the Business Council of Canada has invested in over, I'd say, the last 5 to 8 years. We're really seeing the opportunity and engaging with our counterpart, which is the Coordinating Council for Business in Mexico. And so under this MOU, we'll strengthen those business-to-business ties. We have already a CEO dialogue that has been well underway. And I think what we're seeing this year is an opportunity to ensure we have that public-private sector collaboration that will be critical in terms of building our collaboration going forward.
What is the framework for trade between Canada and Mexico? We don't talk about it as much as we talk about the framework between Canada and the U.S. Like, is most of it under CUSMA?
A lot of our trade, of course, happens under CUSMA. We saw an enormous growth after we signed NAFTA. So by 12-fold, we grew our two-way merchandise trade over this time. And what we've also seen is a huge influx of Canadian investment into strategic sectors in Mexico, where, strengthening the North America competitiveness in terms of other regions. What we're still waiting to see a bit more growth in is in terms of Canadian exports to Mexico. And also, there's an opportunity this year, I think in particular, for us to bring up Mexican investors and have Mexican capital taking advantage of some of the changes and some of the shifts we'll see in Canada that will make us a more competitive and compelling investment environment.
Yeah, because it'd be interesting to see it because you're in Mexico from that standpoint, right? Like, what's the appetite there for greater trade with Canada?
I think Mexico has been looking to capture Canada's attention and to capture the attention of the business sector in Canada for many years. It's been growing incrementally, but what we need to do is really up our game this year and start to take a much more sophisticated look at the Mexican market. So the Mexican companies here are keen to engage. What we've seen as well from the Mexican government is a great deal of interest in establishing consistent and maintaining a dialogue with Canadian business. So we've had excellent opportunities to engage with the Sheinbaum government since she took office in October of 2024. And it's just been growing. And I think this year we should see a lot of the fruits of our labor paying off to the benefit of both countries.
What do Mexican businesses see as some of the greatest challenges and also opportunities when it comes to trading more with Canada?
They want to deepen the relationship. I think one of the biggest things we need to overcome is a lack of understanding. We have had this tendency to see each other through the lens of the United States and North America, which remains very relevant and certainly critical to both our futures. But we need to start to have a strategy for each other that really takes advantage of all the opportunities that still remain for us to invest in and look at. And what this will do is strengthen our North American competitiveness. So by Mexico and Canada putting a lot of investment into our bilateral pillar, we'll be able to create a North America that's much more dynamic, much more ready to compete with the world in 2026 and beyond.
And you said earlier that one thing that would be helpful to see is more exports from Canada to Mexico. Are there certain sectors that you think could be exporting more?
Absolutely. A couple of the sectors we have down here this week, in fact, includes agri-food, which is always very, very big. The Mexican government is looking to find quality, more affordable options. And of course, Canada can provide that. We have a very dynamic and interesting agri-food sector and agri-tech as well. Advanced manufacturing is a lot of our investment as well in Mexico. But in terms of communications technology, as well as some of the key sectors, for instance, in energy. So Mexico relies on the United States for 70% or more of its natural gas, and Canada can be a source, a second source to sort of bolster that up. So we're looking to export more energy products, and as well, they need to increase their storage here. So right now they only have 2 or 3 days worth of storage, which is a vulnerability to their population, but also a vulnerability to business and investors. So Canada can provide some of that technology in terms of energy storage, and I think that we'll see a great area for growth going forward.
Okay, so just lastly, because we have this MOU today, we know a few hundred Canadian business leaders went to Mexico as part of this delegation. How optimistic are you that we'll see movement from this MOU?
I think we're already seeing movement, and I'm sure we'll start to see even more results. And then just in the next few months, as companies, they've been reporting back that they've had excellent meetings. A couple of companies have already said they've made plans to bring Canadian investors up to Canada as a result of this mission. So I don't think it'll take long. And certainly Trade Secretary Marcelo Ebrard has announced that they're looking to bring a delegation up to Canada as well. So that will be happening later this year, we hope.
Okay, well, to watch for that. That's all the time we have. Shauna Hemingway, Senior Special Advisor for Mexico and the Americas. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.